My name is Spencer Higa. I am the head guide at Falcons Ledge Lodge in eastern Utah. Yeah, the unique thing about Utah fishing is that it gets overlooked by a lot of people, by some of the more well-known fisheries, but we have some great small stream fishing that is just by far better than anything I've ever done before, and there's not a lot of people where we're fishing.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming by. I'm just going to go over some of the opportunities we have in northeastern Utah. Anywhere from the Green all the way, or not the Green, the Provo all the way over to where we are, just south of the south slope of the Uinta Mountains. So we'll get started here. That's the south slope of the Uinta Mountain Range right there. So from our lodge, we can get to the base of this in about 20 minutes. We've got 5 or 6 nice little small streams that flow out of it that not a lot of people fish, so it's kind of nice. So here's the map of the state. All our areas where we fish are all right here. So there's the south slope of the Uintas. We've got Salt Lake here, Provo, and then the Green over on that side there. Here's a closer up version of it here. You can see it. Yeah, small creeks where we're using smaller rods, 3 and 4 weight rods. Mainly dry flies we're using there. Oops. But right now, what we're doing in our area is a lot of lake fishing because it's iced off. The rivers are still a little too cold. So right now we're fishing a lot of the still waters, and they're very productive right now. We got any range from big lakes to small lakes. We fishing from drift boats. We're using 5 and 6 and sometimes even 7 weight rods. Some of these fish are pushing 30 inches. And so right at ice off, they're at their strongest. And so when you hook a fish, we've had 2 people break 5 weight fly rods this year already on some of these fish. Fly lines, just streamer strippers are really nice because the tip of the fly line sinks to get down just a little further. And then we also use the floating lines because we fish a lot of chironomids. So we're hanging a lot of stuff off indicators. So we use floating lines for that. Intermediate sinking line is a great line to use, especially if you don't want to get down too deep too quickly. We put an intermediate sinking line on, cast it out, and count. Do the count 10, strip it in. If you do want to get deeper, you just leave it out a little bit longer. We do a lot of dry fly fishing on our lakes, so we get a lot of hatches of ants and calabatus. There's an ant right here. This is one of our top producing ant patterns. It's a foam pattern. It sits up real high, and during a cloudy day when it rains, these fish are really keen in on ants. Sometimes they go for a more realistic pattern, and this is an excellent pattern for that. Just a nice little fish there. Another fly that we get in our lakes are damsel flies. Sometimes this can be the best time to fish during the year when these damsel flies are coming out and they're swimming around. Has anyone seen a damsel fly, a live one? Where you just wiggle around. They're pretty quick. They move pretty quickly. So those fish really chase them down and eat them hard. There's a damsel fish right there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a weed bed that runs up along here, and those damsels will crawl out, and those fish cruise up and down the weed beds looking for those damsel flies. Nice shot there. One of our better techniques for these lakes is with these indicators. It's called a slip indicator. So I'm going to show you real quick here what we do. It's pretty simple. And the reason why we use these slip indicators is because it's easy to change the depth of where you're fishing. So you've got this indicator right here, and it's got a little pin in it. That's a plastic stopper. So before you tie any fly, this is the end of your leader. Before you tie any flies on, you're gonna thread this through the top, just like this. So your flies are going to be right down here. So depending on how deep you're fishing, you move your indicator up, pop this, hang onto the line, and just crease it there. You can see that, and then just jam it in there like this. So we're fishing up to 20 feet, 25 feet deep sometimes. If you have an indicator on that doesn't slide, you're not going to land that fish. So when you set the hook, it slips. And you can see the indicator right here, right there, and the fish is just right below the surface. So we were fishing about 14 feet on this day. And again, if you try to land a fish with 14 feet a leader out, it's almost impossible. Jordanelle Reservoir. This is a bigger reservoir just outside of Park City. It's got some big rainbows, big browns, and then at times of the year we got panfish. There's a nice sized rainbow there. You can see they've been eating a lot over the winter. Another fat fish there. And again, we're using the slip indicator method on these fish, fishing chironomids. And chironomids are these little bugs here. They can range anywhere from size 18 all the way to a size 4, so they can get quite big. And the patterns that we use to imitate are these right here. Various colors. It seems like the darker colors are more prevalent in our area. Got olive and black. And there we go, there's a box of our chironomids right there. You can see a huge assortment of colors and sizes. It's pretty typical there. Sometimes they won't even touch a size 4, one of the bigger ones, but they'll come up and grab one of these little small ones. Another lake, Strawberry Reservoir. We do the chironomids as well. We also do stripping streamers. But one of my favorite techniques on this lake is the mouse pattern. These big cutthroats, they'll chase them down. You'll see a wake behind your mouse before they actually take it, which is a lot of fun. And there are no small fish that will take a mouse pattern in Strawberry Reservoir. The little guys won't even look at them, but you'll get a lot of takes from these big guys. You won't hook up on every one of them, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun stripping a mouse. You cast it out, and you strip it in. Sometimes you strip it in quite, as fast as you can, and that'll get their attention. So right along here, we're going, let's see, this is the Wasatch Mountain Range. This is where the Provo River comes out of. So this is the Provo River. The Provo River from Deer Creek down to the Utah Lakes, about 27 miles. The best fishing is through the canyon. Right here we're using 4, 5, and 6 weight rods, depending on the size, time of the year. And also the fly line. So a 5 weight fly line is going to be ideal for where we're fishing here. The water gets up. A lot of people will really focus in on this water right here. All these fish on the Provo River are going to be up and down the edges right here. I see the mistake all the time where guys jump in the river and they walk right past where all the fish are. And these are where these big rainbows and browns are going to be hanging out. The main staple on the Provo River is the sow bug. These are the sow bugs. You probably know them as I don't know, we call them potato bugs when I was younger. You touch them, they roll up into a ball. But you roll over rocks all over the Provo River that you're going to find these. And there's an imitation right there, sow bug imitation right in the top of his mouth. And there's our imitation right there. And we use sow scud dubbing for those of you that tie flies. It's one of the better colors that we use because when it gets wet it darkens up a little bit and it's got all those colors. Here's I watched these guys from the bridge. They walked right through all this stuff right here, right to the middle of the river, fishing that side, which there's fish all over, but they just walked over all these fish right there. So, and as you can see, those fish get right up against the bank. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's fish right there. So these fish really, they'll get up in the super shallow areas of the river. You can see them. Okay, some hatches we get on the Provo River, blue wing olives. And this is actually the time of year right now. We just started seeing them a couple of days ago. This would be some of the funnest fishing on the Provo River. Every fish in the river is going to be up eating in the riffles and the slack water. Good imitations we use parachute Adams, and we also have parachute blue wing olives. Other hatches we get a good stonefly hatch. That's a good imitation right there to use on the Provo, just a dark color. Also, streamer patterns are working really well. Stripping them in the fast water tails of the runs. That's our top producer right there, just the conehead black woolly bugger, real simple. Another one with the hot bead right here. Sometimes these can really trigger a strike when fish aren't really feeding. And then we've got, in Utah, they've started stocking a hybrid in a lot of our lakes and rivers called Tiger trout. Anyone heard of a tiger trout? It's a cross between a brook trout and a brown trout, and it looks like this. You can see the color. It's the coloration of a brown trout, but it's got the markings of a brook trout. You can see that there. A really neat looking fish. The reason why they're doing this is they're a much stronger fish. They can withstand higher, warmer temperatures, and they're a little bit tougher than like rainbows. They lose a lot of rainbows every year, stocking rainbows. This is one of our little lakes here that we do have some big fish in it. This guy was fishing all day long, having a hard time. Weather was real crappy, and he ended up hooking into this fish right here. This is a tiger trout. It's a lighter color. You can see he's kind of lighter, but he's got those markings of that brook trout on his fin there. So he lands him, and I don't think he realized what he had, but that's one of the bigger fish, one of the bigger tiger trout we've seen out there. It's close to 30 inches long.
Looks like a lake trout.
So it does. It does look kind of like lake trout. It's that light color. So
Do they reproduce?
they don't reproduce. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. And they grow really fast. We've stocked fish in the 14 to 16 inch range, and in 1 year they're up to about 25 inches.
Wow.
So this particular lake had a lot of brook trout in it, and for some reason that year we didn't catch any brook trout. We couldn't catch any brook trout. Then we caught this guy, and we figured out why we weren't catching any brook trout. Anyone ever have this happen when you're nymphing? You get lots of stuff on it. There's a technique that we use on the Provo River called the Provo River Bounce. Provo River Bounce rig. It'll prevent a lot of this from happening, from cleaning your flies after every cast. So basically, all you need is some split shot, and then this is how you rig it up. You've got your indicator up here, you've got your leader, and you've got some tag ends here. And the bottom here is where you're going to put your split shot. So your split shot's going to be bouncing on the bottom of the river. You've got your two flies hanging just above, staying out of the weeds. And then this is what the rig looks like right here. So basically you put about 6 or 7 weights right here. You've got your two tag ends. You want about 12 inches from your weights to your flies, and about 8 inches of tag end to keep you from tangling. But this is a very effective way to fish any piece of water that you come up on. Again, when you get snagged up, you're losing split shot. You're not losing flies. If you got weeds or you got moss, you don't even have to clean them off your split shot. It really alleviates a lot of frustration after every cast trying to clean your flies off.